In the last class, we were discussing Sthiram Sukham Asanam. So general translation is the asana should be Sthiram, steady, and Sukham should be comfortable. Steady and comfortable should be the posture. This is the general translation. So when we look at this, very easy, and this is what people try to gloss over. So what is asanam? Sthiram, Sukham, asanam. And each one starts quoting. However, so generally when we look at asanas, even though there are many types of asanas, in details we have, do talk where asana, bandha, mudra, all these things we do talk very carefully. And meanwhile, while doing all these things, why and how this asana becomes Sthiram and Sukham, that is being talked in the next sutra where we stopped in the last class. Because when a person does, whether 48 asanas, generally, because in different places, different numbers of postures have been taught. It's like, for example, some people give importance to Sirsasana, some people give Mayurasana, then like in order Urdhva Sarvangasana, Paschimottasana, like it goes on and on. But the point is here, when we look at all these asanas, especially, we try to understand what is this. This 47 sutra, which talks where we stopped, says Prayatna Saithilya Anantya Samapatibhyam. So this Anantya, so see, this is what I went completely wrong yesterday, last class. It was really very funny. This is what you need to be very careful. So I looked at one popular school of yoga. So they are just sutra parts. That's why I got stuck. Ananta, because they have put Prayatna Saithilya Ananta Samapatibhyam. So I didn't understand what is the word Ananta. So I was talking, you remember? So then I said, okay, we'll look into the text, what's Ananta says, because I know I am wrong, somewhere something wrong. I did not really understand head or tail out of it. What is this Ananta? But in reality, so they themselves have written wrongly. And they are one of the best yoga schools, whom I respect. Okay? Imagine what sort of mistake they make. Because I thought, okay, let me look at and get out, because I didn't have time to look at the sutra to read. So one book was there, just I picked up. I said, okay, I need sutra, let me go ahead. That's why in the last class I was very honest, sorry, I have not done my homework. Let me look into details, what is this Ananta, where from this Ananta word comes, because I was having doubt with me, okay, whether I am right or the book is right, what is happening to me. Anyway, but the truth is, the sutra says very clearly, it's not Ananta, we have to see very clearly, it is Anantya. So okay, A-N-A-N-T-A is not A-N-A-N-T-Y-A, Anantya, Y is missing. That makes a big, big difference. See how people can translate wrongly, do commentary wrongly, and in some big fellow's name. That means it shows most of the book that is written or available in the big people name, they might not have written at all. Once you have a big name, other people write in that name. So that book sells, organization grows. However, whether it's right or wrong, that's their problem, not our problem. So here he says, look, the asana siddhi takes place with prayatna saithilya. This Sthiram Sukham Asanam is being very carefully talked. So we say, what is prayatna, what is shaithilya? Let us look at very carefully step by step. Because generally we say prayatna means effort. So saithilya means that steadiness. So stairya, saithilya means sithila swabhava, very comfortable looseness. But here, how we should look at very carefully. When he says prayatna, shithila, these two, anantya samapati bhyam, anantya and samapati, all this put together, asana siddhi takes place. Then you may ask the question, what are these words? Because the translation wise, if you look at, so they will say what? Very nicely, by loosening of effort, by the meditation on the serpent Ananta, asana is mastered. Where is this Ananta come serpent? We don't understand, okay? That's why I went crazy. Where from this Kundali Ananta serpent came? But it has got its own point. Let us look at. From there the Kundalini comes. How and why they have put, let us be very careful and clear. First thing says very nicely that the effort that you put during posture. So natural way putting effort is called prayatna. So you can say the sincere effort when you put for any posture is called prayatna. Now when you start putting effort, there what happens? Sharira kampanam takes place. The trembling happens in the body. So body starts shaking, trembling takes place. Any posture when you do, what happens? First time when you do, for example, when you do, there is Paschimottanasana, all these things. So what happens? That muscle starts shaking. So you will not be able to hold for some longer time. So some type of shaking, kampanam takes place. So that means that kampanam is natural. So that means if the kampanam takes place, that shaking, trembling, if that happens, that means you are putting effort properly, your prayatna is okay. Clear? Because if the kampanam does not happen, so you cannot say that you are doing asana. But later on, from kampanam, sharira kampanam, we have to do this thing, sithilikaranam, we have to do it. That is what is called saithilata. So what is to be done? Sithilata or saithilikaranam, we say. So how, here says beautifully, now once this kampanam happens, shaking, trembling happens, now you need to bring down that kampanam being in that posture. So first kampanam, shaking takes place, trembling happens. You can say muscle pain. Some people say it's a muscle pain. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether muscle pain or very nicely nowadays they say allow the muscle to breathe. So the muscle starts breathing. Is the new terminology is being used. Allow the muscle to breathe. So when the muscle starts breathing, so automatically there is a kampanam, and that kampanam, that shaking, that trembling, that moment or that very unusual moment that happens to be slowed down, to bring down, to calm down. That is called saithilikarana. Now with this very nicely, and of course this is to be done what? That means as long as this sithilikaranam, calming down of that kampanam has not happened, that long the person is supposed to keep doing asana. So that's why asana is not for 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, to be in the long time. Then says finally, okay, fine. Then while doing this thing, there is a difference. So here he says ananta samapatibhyam. Okay, I understand. This is what is happening. Then what is to be done? Then they will say, oh, focus on that muscle. Breathe, breathe the muscle. This is called gross. Nowadays present, this Ashtanga Yoga, and many people highlight this aspect, okay? Which is technically wrong. We have to be very careful and clear in this regard. Because he uses this word, that ananta samapatibhyam. Why he uses this word? Very nicely, that anantya, generally, if you look at how here is, the chitta, the mind always keeps fluctuating. And of course, it will keep moving and becoming restless. And especially when you start doing any asana, and when there is kampanam, there is trembling, mind will be more restless. That's why you can see when people, especially, that's why we do in yoga class and other classes, especially Vedanta classes, because we generally don't allow Vedanta class to happen sitting on the chair and table. Because sitting on the chair, Vedanta doesn't enter. To be very honest, it doesn't work. One has to sit down properly. Because sitting on the chair, Vedanta is not going to enter. Yoga, definitely nothing will happen, okay? Nowadays, that is called chair yoga, okay? All the yoga, in office yoga, this yoga, that yoga, it's a destructive yoga, okay? I don't want to use the word. And this is more popular, okay? And you earn more money on that, okay? It's good for earning money, nothing else. Same thing also, to time pass, sitting on the chair is very good for Vedanta, to be very honest. Unless there is no other option, okay? That's different thing altogether. So you cannot expect, Vedanta class, suppose in a big hall is happening, so there are only chairs, so you cannot, no, I should sit down, okay? Because generally in those places also we sit down, okay? That's another point. Let us not get into controversy. Coming to the point, why and how? Here this the clue is being given. When especially you sit down for a posture, even if you sit down, let us say, Sukhasana for some time, what happens to you? Then your leg starts paining. So when leg starts paining, your mind becomes restless or not? The moment pain starts, there is a kampanam, will be there. So with the kampanam, the mind becomes restless or not? So the moment mind becomes restless, what you do generally? You become restless, you keep changing posture. You want to get up, you want to get out, you do this, you do that. Oh, this is not my cup of tea, let me find out the chair, blah, blah, blah. That means you are not right student to do asana. You are not right at all. As for Patanjali, very clearly I am highlighting why and how. Here he says that Anantya Samapatibhyam. I'll give the link here. So the mind job is to become restless. Mind always looks for something to become restless so that it can avoid, it can get out. Now it gets a chance here. Oh, it is painful. Now let me get out. There your mind is supposed to be meditating upon Anantya. What is Anantya? Akasadi, the limitlessness. Like space. And of course, when we are talking Vedanta, because we are not, when we are talking Vedanta, only Brahman. Brahman means forget. Okay, this is much better. Even if for common yoga practice, there what happened, mind is supposed to dwell upon higher thing, higher element. Here is space. So when the mind starts dwelling upon bigger things like space, the vastness, automatically the kampanam that happens in the body is not being felt. So you are supposed to completely arrest your mind from the pain rather than encouraging your pain, justifying your pain. Is it clear? Generally what a person does, either justifies the pain, I am old. Remember, you are not old. My body is old. My body is old. So if your body is old, for many other things, your body is not old. Only when you sit down, that time you are old. Huh? So you need chair, you need this, you need that. You understand? Anyway, let me not get into too much, okay? This is not right for me to get into. However, says beautifully that this Anantya, one really need to spend little time in dwelling upon the vastness, so that mind should get connected. Then only this asana will be sthiram and sukham. But now you may ask the question, where from this ananta, naga, all this thing comes, and serpent comes, then kundalini comes. That is how, this is the translation. Then suddenly people say, oh, by asanas your kundalini will be raised, because look, ananta serpent will be raised. It's not like that. In fact, I was looking at very carefully how, where from it has come. What has happened here is very nicely that because in Vyasabhashyam, anante va samapannam chittam asanam nivartayati iti. So, Bhasyam, the commentary by Vyasa, which is attributed to him, no doubt in it. So, here he is being highlighted that the mind is supposed to be placed on Ananta, the vastness like sky. Then automatically the asana siddhi will take place. Whereas, if we try to look at what happened is, very nicely, some other people, especially Vachaspati Mishra, so he tried to bring that dwelling upon. So dwelling upon Ananta Naga. So the concept he brought it, how the serpent Ananta Naga holds the creation, because completely religious, that's why. How the Ananta Naga, the serpent, holds the whole universe. And in spite of that, how it is stable. So focusing on the stability aspect on Ananta Naga. So from that Ananta serpent, because they are how, even if the Ananta Naga holds, or the whole world, whole universe is being sustained on the hood of Ananta Naga, still Ananta Naga is stable, very easy, very comfortable. So also the person has to adopt that easiness. So from this serpent, Ananta serpent started converting into that Kundalini serpent. Can you see this point? How people jump from one to another very nicely, carefully. So while discussing this thing, says beautifully, though that means when a person does this, automatically this asana siddhi has to happen. And interestingly, when you this thing, generally what happened is, when you start dwelling upon, generally asana siddhi that time happens. Because of this dwelling upon akasadigata anante chetasa samapatti kriyate. Generally, a person who has more tadatmya bhava with shariram. So tadatmya bhava means that oneness, attachment to the body. So body is me. Tat akara. So body akara is my akara. The shape and size of the body is me. So whatever is body, so body is old, I am old. Body is sick, I am sick. Body is, having disease, I am diseased person. So that is called, clearly tadatmya bhava with shariram. So when the person has got tadatmya bhava with shariram, what we call as dehakara bhava later on. So the akara, the size of deha becomes that person. Definitely that person will have a pain. So that person has got more pain with reference to body, who is a gross person. The more you become gross, the more pain you feel. That's why technically we say whenever your energy goes down, your body pain increases. Have you not observed this? Whenever your energy goes down, your body pain increases. If you observe yourself, you do many things. Suppose there is program, this, that, all these things, all the time you are busy, your mind is elevated. That time, do you feel the body pain? Definitely not. Moment program is over, all pain comes. Suppose after that another program is there, next program is there, your program after another program is there. Will you have any body pain? Definitely not. So that means when my thinking is gross, that time I have body pain. It's a very clear thing to understand here. That's why I'm going little details here. This is the basic thing to be understood. So anytime I complain about my body pain, that means I am gross, my energy is gross. I'll tell you, like morning when you get up, many of us will go through. Especially when you winter, the laziness pain comes. Suppose moment you get up and you start doing exercising. You start moving yourself. You try to do many things. Will you have body pain? Does it go away or not? That all of us have done it. But if you, no, let me slowly, let me have a cup of tea. Who is going to make coffee or tea? Somebody should give me, So that's why we say very carefully, the more I become gross, in short, the more I am gross, the more I am having body pain. So to extend that, okay, these old people, even they are more gross? Of course they are more gross. They are more insecure with reference to body. Any moment they may die. The body is not cooperating. This is not happening. So thinking is so gross. So what is gross? Gross is nothing when your self is narrow. Because elderly people think is what? Me means me, my body, not even if their house, you understand? And wherever my body is there, that is me, extension of me. And whoever related to my body takes care of my body, they are mine. If you don't take care of them, sorry, you, even if you are their children, who are they? Sometimes gene will talk, but you know deep within what happens. Because so gross, that's why grossness brings pain, in short. So whenever there is pain in my body, that means that moment I am gross. There is no doubt in it. However, says next point is very carefully. That's why when you have this Ananta Samapati, Anantya Samapati, then what will happen is definitely the asana will not be dukkha janakam at all. So it will not generate, it will not create, or it will not be creator of dukkham, pain. So that means what? Whatever dukkham, the pain you have, that will go away because of this. Because the moment there is no deha ahankara bhava, so definitely it will not be there at all. So that means what? Definitely when it does not generate dukkham, what will happen? He says, the next sutra, which is very nice, says, tataha dundanabhighatah. So tataha, thereafter, or out of this, dvandaha anabhighatah. So dvandaha means pair of opposite, pairs of opposite. So pairs of opposites, when we say sukham, dukkham, so pleasure and pain. So then also we say ushma shitam, means warm and cold, hot and cold. Any pairs of opposites will not have impact. Anabhighatah, there will be no impact of pairs of opposites. So that means it's very clear, as we have discussed, when I don't have especially ahankar with reference to body, deha ahankara bhava. So that means when I am not connected to the body, definitely the pain and pleasure will not affect to the body. That's why if you look at any asuras especially, or anybody does tapas, what happens? First thing is, they grow out this dehabhimana, abhimana with reference to deham. That identification with deha, with the body, they grow first during tapas time. But nowadays what happens? To protect the body, there is a, called easy chair meditation. So there are chairs are being sold by different organizations where you can support your back properly, sit properly with proper cushion, because I don't have bone, I don't have flesh properly, so I need a very good cushion. Like I need a good mattress to sleep, because that mattress should be like spring mattress, okay? Wow, nice. All the foam and whatnot, memory, wow, whatnot, okay? So, like that, I need also now memory asana for meditation. Nowadays they started selling. There are different ways how to capture the fools and get the money from the market. However, good, nothing wrong in it. At least they are doing something, okay? We have to respect. So here he says, tataha dvanda anabhighataha. So out of this, the person will not be able to feel or will not be affected by, or there will be no impact of pairs of opposite. It's not that pairs of opposite will not be there, but it will not have any impact on the person, because person has grown out of body, identification with the body. So when you don't identify with the body, whatever happens to the body, you don't bother. Can you see this point? When I identify myself with somebody, when I identify myself with someone or something, if anything happens to that person or that thing, will I be affected or not? Definitely. When I have grown out of that, if anything happens, do I bother? Okay, if I say, okay, oh, sorry, not supposed to happen, go ahead. Can you see this point? So that is what is being highlighted. Now after this thing, when the person grows out of this pairs opposite, also in the pairs of opposite we have a most important thing. What is that? That is called hunger and thirst. So asana siddhi also comes under this, that the person will grow out of hunger and thirst. Oh, I am hungry, I cannot do asana. I am thirsty, it will not work. That's why asana siddhi takes care of many things. That's why you have to adopt a particular posture. Especially where both the legs are crossed, which is very much important for future. To make sure you are able to sit for longer. Doesn't matter. How? After this comes pranayama. Let us look at pranayama, okay? So I am going to really break all of your head, hopefully. Tasmin sati swasa praswasa yoga. Sorry, I made a mistake. Swasa praswasayor gatir vichhedaha pranayama. So tasmin sati. So here is Sati Saptami, okay? Sati Saptami is a very powerful statement. As per the rule, only when asana siddhi happens, only then what happens? Pranayama starts. Okay? So, asane siddhi sati. So once the asana siddhi happens, we discussed what is asana siddhi, okay? Then only pranayama. So what is pranayama? Let me not get into too much because we will be going in details, don't worry. Very simple definition says, swasa praswasayoho gatir vichhedah. So that means swasa and praswasa. We'll be seeing in details, okay? So that means what says? So we say swasa means inhalation. Praswasa means exhalation. Very simple format. To pull, swasa. To push, praswasa. So swasa praswasayoho gatir vichheda. So when you want to stop, create a break, vichheda. So making a break, creating a break between what? Between gati, movement of swasa and praswasa. Between exhalation and inhalation. You can say here inhalation and exhalation. Now when we say this, that this is just taking a break. So what do you mean by this creating a break or taking a break? Because it is very natural, common practice that the moment you inhale, long before your inhalation is completed, you feel like exhaling. Long before exhalation is complete, you feel like inhaling. In fact, the more the person keeps inhaling and exhaling, the more the person is sick. So to find out who is a sick person, both physically and mentally, you can look at the person's breathing pattern. On an average, we say around 15 times, because nowadays they say 23, 24, but technically not right. Around 15 times, one able to, let us say, normal breathing in a minute. But nowadays you know how many times you do. And whenever you are especially in a anxiety mode, angry mode, you understand how you keep very shallow breathing. So when you do shallow breathing, what does it mean? Long before your exhalation is complete, do you inhale or not? Long before your inhalation is complete, do you exhale or not? So that means you don't allow the inhalation and exhalation to complete. This is the sick people. So the natural process is, a healthy person is, even if you don't want to do pranayama, allowing the inhalation and exhalation to complete. And this inhalation and exhalation keeps continuing throughout life, which we have seen in Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. And that is what called ajapa japa. Technically, we use this word called ajapa japa. They say very nicely. In fact, I remember this concept ajapa japa. To understand, I had to spend, almost more than 2 years to understand this concept in my teenage time. Because in a teenage time, when I was spending time with all these practices, somebody said, look, if you want to have a sakshatkar, atma sakshatkar, this is the exact word the elderly person told me. Because I had all the tough masters in my life, okay? So if you want to have atma sakshatkar, you need to do ajapa japa. I said, what is ajapa japa? Find out. I do not know how many hours, how many days, how many months I have literally run after them. No. They didn't answer me, two of them. Both of them, no, he will tell, you will tell. Then after that, I started running around with many people, many texts I saw. I spent time here and there. You cannot think of what are the things I have done, where I have gone, how much, whatever things I have done for things to understand what is ajapa ajapa. So later on, this is called ajapa ajapa. That this japam continuously continues. The understanding between prana and apana, which is being talked, we have seen in details in Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. Now time is for this thing to translate in English, Yoga Chudamani Upanishad, okay? To be done. Because unfortunately everything comes first in Italian language, then you people have to break in English, which is not acceptable anymore, okay? However, so this ajapa japa, so there is understanding between this prana and apana. And as long as there is connection, there is understanding between prana and apana, that long a person is alive. And that is to be understood. So here he says, look, this prana, apana, or you can say here, this language is swasa praswasa. Inhalation and exhalation continues, supposed to continue. Now one need to create a break. So when you create a break, because one day they will stop, because they agree both of them together. As long as they keep fighting, what one pulls, other pushes. You know, pull, push goes on. As long as they agree to fight, that long we are alive. That's why in life there is no fight, is a painful, is a really useless life. Because in the body there is a fight between prana and apana. As long as the fight continues like this, you understand? That long you are alive. The moment both of them agree, what will happen? You are no more alive, you are dead. Same thing also in relationship, in family. If there is no fight, then what is the purpose of having a family? Tell me. There is no purpose of having family, please understand. Hey, look at him. This thing, what do you call Lord Vishnu's family. Look at Lord Shiva's family. Lord Shiva's family is an amazing family, okay? More painful than Lord Vishnu. That's why Vishnu is little bit relaxing, but Lord Shiva closes his eyes, okay, do whatever you want. Because so much problem. Poor fellow, what can he do? And all are contradicting each other, you understand? With their vahanas and with everything. There is no peace. If you look at superficially in Shiva's family, there is no peace at all. Imagine, snake is here, in the neck, okay? Kartik comes in. So when Kartik comes in, does namaskaram to his father. Now moment does namaskaram to father, the vahana is what? Peacock. Peacock also would like to come and do prostration to Lord Shiva. The moment comes closer, what happens to the snake? Snakes go crazy. You understand? Now, poor Shiva's neck will be, tightened. And of course, you know better. Lord Shiva's vahana is what? Nandi is outside. Now, Parvati comes in. So, what is her vahana? Now, what will do with the bull, with Nandi? You know better. And in between, Ganesha comes in. Small rat. Now, snake thinks, wow, now I have time now. I got my own time. And the best part is, Lord Shiva has two women. Gangaji on the head. And who is Gangaji? Remember, Gangaji is none other than sister of Parvati. So in spite of that, lot of jealousy. That's why Gangaji was being even cursed by Parvati. So in short, what I am trying to say is, in family, this is what's supposed to happen. Then only family is a family. So if there is a problem in the family, you must enjoy. But it should not affect you. It should not drown you. Remember this point. Our Lord Shiva, he knows. He withdraws. And he has his own place to withdraw. In Kailasa, he has his own place to withdraw. So in your house, you need to have a place to withdraw. Let it happen. Let it continue. I'm supposed to talk other things. Now I got into the family, okay? I'm sorry. This Swasa Praswasa Yogati, I don't know why I picked up this, okay? However, so then what happens? How do you look at this next sutra, which talks in details, which will be talking in details. Let us read, then we'll stop it. Bahya abhyantaram stambha vritti deshakala sankhyavihi paridrushtaha dirgha sukshmaha. So here he says, look, in a short translation so that we can go in the next class in details. Bahya abhyantara. If you look at a pranayama, so we say pranayama is something called bahya. One is called external. So that means second one is called internal. Bahya abhyantara. Then comes stambha. So stambha means completely steady, like a pillar. We'll be seeing in details, okay? And this three, also it has got desha kala sankhyabihi paridrishta. So this is being regulated by desha, place, kala, time, sankhya, number. And again, there are two types. One is dirgha, other one is sukshma. So they are supposed to be, it's not two types, I made a mistake. It should be dirgha and sukshma. So dirgha means it has to be long, sukshma means subtle. Why and how? We have a lot of explanations on this. In fact, if we look at the pranayama, without understanding this basic concept, one is not supposed to do pranayama. Or you can say all pranayama that you do, all this concept must be included. That's why we say very carefully, pranayama must not be learnt directly. It must be learnt from a teacher who has experienced. So that means who knows all these things. More of it we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.